Def Jam Icon is possibly one of the most hated and despised video games. And why is that? Well, obviously because it's a bad game. I mean, there's more that goes into it than that. Now don't worry, this isn't a video where I try and convince you the game's good. It's not like that. Think of it as like a review / retrospective type deal. I'm going to talk about the stuff that I like and do not like about the game. Now with that being said, before we touch on Icon, we need to briefly talk about Fight for New York. Now, Fight for New York is arguably one of the best wrestling / fighting games ever made. Everybody knows that. It has started roster, great gameplay, story mode, so why speak on it? We need to so we can briefly compare. Def Jam Icon, developed by EA Chicago and released on March 6, 2007 on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It would release to average reviews, mostly 68s out of 100s and like 6.5s out of 10s, stuff like that. So what's the big deal? I get 60s all the time in school. It doesn't make, man, I'm fine. Bad jokes aside, the game does have some things I like and do not like, so sorry about that. The one thing that does kind of hinder this game, in my opinion, is its lacking roster. It's only got 29 playable characters. This is bad considering the fact that Fight for New York had about 60-something playable characters. That's not saying that the Icon roster lacks star power. We have OGs of the series like Ghostface Killah, Method Man and Redman, Ludacris. We also have some newcomers to the series like Mike Jones, Young Jeezy, Jim Jones, and The Game. And many more. The game would take the bold approach to cut blazons, as Kudo Sonoda, the director of the game, thought that wrestling and rap didn't go together. He clearly didn't see how well the previous two games did before, but it would have many of the mechanics, and it have a lot of the mechanics, and like it resembles Fight Night, if that makes sense. It still does have the fighting styles, however. It does have the fighting styles. Beatboxer is basically boxing combos with some actual professional wrestling moves, which is cool. Street Kwon-Do is the game's take on Taekwondo. Black Panther is Shaolin style. Ghetto Blaster is kickboxing, and Muay Thai is exactly what it sounds like. It's Thai boxing. The game has a feature that I personally do not mind, but I know people who don't like it at all. The game's whole gimmick is that the music you pick can be used as a weapon. You pick two tracks, one for your character and one for your opponent, and the level and environment around the player will react with the bass of the song, which I personally think is a pretty cool concept. Now, what is the thing I speak of? People do not like the DJ system. Basically, you can control the bass with the song to immediately have the environment react and cause damage to the opponent. I do not personally mind it at all, but I do actually see the problem on why people do not like it. It requires you to hold the R2 button and spin both sticks together to change it. Like I said, I personally don't have a problem with it, but I actually do see the problem here. Another thing that does kind of irk me is the filters that they put over the gameplay. What you're seeing is not edited. I didn't mess with the saturation. Now sometimes it's not that bad, but other times it's completely black or white or like random green colors. The song will change with the filter when you do the DJ turntable stuff. Now I get why they did this, as music videos around this time did have crazy filters. The best one I can think of is Lolly Lolly by 3 6 Mafia. But I do think they went a tad bit overboard. And the lack of levels also sucks. There's only 8 levels. EA, come on man, you're better than this. Okay, now we can talk about the good things I like. Number 1, the soundtrack. For one, it's actually good. Almost everyone on the roster has at least 2 tracks. They are mostly the singles or handpicked songs off the artist's albums. Another cool feature I mentioned is I like how the main menu will actually react to the beat of the current song playing. Like, that is cool. If another Def Jam-like game or any hip-hop center game were to release, why not use this? Like, it just brings the personality into the menu screen. Now we need to talk about the game's story mode. Called Build a Label, in-game it lets you create your own character and essentially become a label executive / producer. I do actually kind of like how the game's creation suite is modeled after like a police database. I try my best to make myself. I don't think it looks anything like me. It resembles more of Maven Huffman, if anything. Anyway, we start out talking to a man named Curtis Carver who owns the label. After signing a kid's basketball, he is mysteriously shot and killed. And the game jumps back 2 years before, setting this in 2005? Sticky Fingers is in a club talking to a girl when suddenly he is popped in the mouth for his wrongdoing. This causes the man to accidentally bump into us, completely ruining our fresh white tall tea. So we put the ultimate beatdown on dude and educate him on his wrongdoings. You can't be messing up white tees in the club, it's a sign of disrespect. After our little club brawl, we are introduced to Curtis Carver and are brought onto the label to scout talent and sign new artists. He gives us a grand and instructs us to go buy some new clothes. It's here I can talk about the cosmetics. The clothing store features many iconic clothing and shoe brands like Jordan, 8732, Avarex, Echo, Rockaware, and more. Real life jewelry company Aviani & Co. makes the appearance as the main jeweler. I don't know why they couldn't get Jacob the jeweler, but whatever. The barbershop lets you change your hair and facial hair in the tattoo shop. Now, the game lets you recruit 3 artists to the labels, as Ludacris is always the first artist that's signed by default. In my playthrough, my label consisted of Paul Wall, Redman, and the game. But it's randomized each time, and that's like the main plot line for the majority of the game. Just sign of the artist, and that's it. After signing your first artist, mine being Paul Wall, we are really interrupted by another record label owner by the name of Troy Dollar, played by Anthony Anderson. And that's a nice way to tie a celebrity into the game, I'll give you that, EA. But that's kind of what the label is. You fight rappers, sign artists, and invest into them. Now here's a tip when going into the label manager on your computer. Literally just spend the maximum amount of money you can, whether you go broke or just spend the maximum. It has a much higher chance of going platinum or even multi-platinum. After signing a couple of artists, a bunch of leaks and samples start releasing without officially being cleared. And I like this. It kind of pokes fun at like LimeWire and the bootleg mixtapes that were around during the mid to late 2000s. That's pretty funny. Troy Dollar will eventually contest a meetup, and it's here we find out that Carver's right-hand man Wink, played by Sticky Fingers, let his cousin listen to the demos and he leaked them. So we throw him down the elevator and get a nice new posh penthouse as the VP. And now here's where you will start making a couple $1 million of cash, or just start making more money off your royalties. This game actually still does have the girlfriend system from Vendetta and Fight for New York, except the way it works this time is it's tied to your style meter. This can be raised by buying clothing, jewelry, doing taunts during fights. This game actually lets you cheat too. You can have up to 4 girlfriends at the same time. But thankfully, I'm a loyal man, so I did not do that. Sometimes artists will ask you for favors either via message or actual fights. These will be like, you know, pay this money for a movie, or you know, fight this guy for me. I'd like to mention you can actually kill people in this game. After signing the game to my label and snuffing Big Boy, he decides to come over, we fight, and I throw him out the window of my penthouse. That's dark. So after signing rappers and making a ton of cash, there's another short story that starts where one of your artists, in my playthrough being Paul Wall, gets into a fist fight with an off-duty cop, and that's kind of what completely takes things off of the deep end. Later, Ludacris will message you to hit the club, and after dealing with Lil Jon, you run into 2 crooked cops named Wheatley and Greer, who clearly watched Train Day one too many times. I mean, just look at the way he's dressed. He's got the leather jacket on. Come on. But in my opinion, this is probably one of the best cutscenes in the entire game, so I'm just gonna play the full cutscene right now.
Yeah, you know, one of them execs who think he's an expert on everything just because he wears hat backwards.
Yo, word. Yeah. This your truck? You the detective. You know your tags are expired. Bullshit, crime fighter, man. It's a brand new truck. Ain't nothing wrong with these tags. I'm looking right at them. They're expired. Yeah, right. And I probably got a busted tail light too, huh? Ah! If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were resisting arrest. Uh-huh. Yeah, you get rid of that badge, and especially that heater. Then let's see who the real man is, huh? Yeah, well, I hear you're the new big nuts in town. They say you're a shot caller. Is that true? I don't know what your homie's been telling you, but I run this city and I run it clean. Which means none of your drugs or beef brawls or gangbanging anywhere near here. You play nice, or you pay the piper. You follow? Do you follow me? I know the drill. Good. Now, the way I see it, you fellows owe me. I just gave you something to rap about. And get those tags fixed.
And then right after this, 2 of your artists will beef with each other. In my playthrough, it happened to be the game and Redman. They decided to meet up at 106 in Park of all places and decided to throw down. Man, who remembers BT or 106 in Park? Let me know. And It's at this moment that Troy Dollar and the cops come down heavily on you and your crew. Coincidence? I think so. After winning an award and slept around Day-Day, Paul Wall messages us and lets us know that the cops have done put him on trumped up charges. So we fight as Paul Wall to, quote, not make it easy on him, and it leads to his arrest. And another plot point of this game is that one of Troy's artists, Platinum, is actually an old friend of the main character, and she actually knows about Wheatley and reveals that they are paid off by Troy. See, calling Popo is crazy. It's here you can tell how desperate Troy is. He sends cops after us, he sends T.I. to beat up Game, and that fails. It's just hilarious going back and playing through this to capture the gameplay and just seeing how desperate Troy is. Later, we're told to meet up with Carver, and this is actually where the first cutscene starts at. After Carver being shot, Wheatley and Greer try to arrest us when we had nothing to do with it, and he tried to blame us for the murder weapon. And he filled out the paperwork for the gun with our name. Now this becomes the main plot point. And it's at this point where everything goes wrong. Your crew turns on you, everyone thinks you're a murderer, you need to leave town immediately. Also, it's here where Method Man appears, and he is unintentionally funny.
Yo, B, we caught up in some straight bullshit. We should pull our shoes up and head for the Caribbean or something, y'all mean?
No, we're doing it like I said. My mind's made up.
The gang meets up at the Start House, and the plan is to ride on Troy and the crooked cops. Method Man decides to help the club and beat the crap out of Young Jeezy for payback, and after beating the crap out of Sean Paul, we finally confront Troy. We insult him for being fat, and it's kind of funny the way that the player says it.
Man, every word out of your mouth is digging you a deeper grave.
Yeah, and every word out of your mouth is digging you a wider one.
You calling me fat?
Man, please, you 100 pounds past that.
And after we defeat Troy, this happens.
Smile for the cameras. You guys got more surveillance in this building than the feds do. I ought to know. I installed it myself. Makes it a lot easier to edit the evidence, you know? I gotta tell you, I'm impressed. I didn't think you'd make it this far on your own. First Carver, now Troy. Two setups you walked into like a total chump.
Man, you look fucked up.
After almost being killed ourselves and Wheatley killing Troy, we awaken to Greer burying us alive and the reveal of Platinum screwing us over. Wow, talk about a heel turn. Thankfully, Method Man recorded the entire ordeal and takes us to a plastic surgeon to reconstruct our face. The game makes this hilarious joke about Brad Pitt and Denzel Washington.
No choice if you want to fix community yoga. Any requests while I am there? Want to look like Rat
Washington.
Hell nah, dawg. Give homie the Denzel package.
And I didn't bother making a whole new face, but I did change my character's hair. Russell Simmons makes a cameo, then gives us a pep talk, and then quietly disappears for the rest of the game. It's here where the initial stages of our revenge tour. We beat up Wink in a club to convince us to put in a good word for us, and once we're there, instead of playing a new song, we play the tape of us being shot and buried. Once again, we beat up Training Day's #1 fan, and finally get a crack at Wheatley. We beat him, reveal to Platinum that we are the player character, and she is shot and killed by Wheatley. Wow, this game was unexpectedly dark. I completely forgot how dark this game was. We beat Wheatley again, Platinum passed away in our arms, and we're cleared of all charges? It's never made clear if we're cleared of all charges, but the game ends with the reveal that Wink was a snitch and was involved with the feds the entire time. Well, that was Def Jam Icon's story mode, and for one, it's actually good. The sequel was intended to come out in 2008, but with how poorly received Icon 1 was, it was canceled before it could be released. There's videos talking about Icon 2, including one that I've made, but it would have fixed a lot of the issues Icon 1 had and added back the wacky wrestling element. So with everything we've talked about, how do I personally feel about Icon? Well, I like this game. Yeah, I actually do. I recognize from a game design standpoint, it's a bad game, but I can actually sit down and have a good time with Icon. Now, with that being said, let me know how you feel about Icon. Thank you for watching me ramble about this game. If you'd like to check out some of my other essays, click on the videos on screen. Or if you want to see me play something other than wrestling, check out one of the plays in the descriptions. I'm having fun doing this new review / essays type thing with the scripted content. It's fun. It's time consuming, but it's fun. I'm happy I got to sit down and play this game once again. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.